Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Weekly Poll. I am, of course, Sal, and I'm joined today by our capable and incredible host, and actually the host of our sister show, The Poll. Over to my left is Caped Joel, and to his left is the real Zoobs, aka Tiffany.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being on today's episode. If you are looking for other guests or other hosts, unfortunately, they're all either indisposed or in the process of moving. This, of course, includes Rob from Comics Explained, who is literally... I think he's moving today, and if he isn't moving today, he's arrived today.
We wish him the best.
And we wish him the best. He's going to have a great time, and we'll see how his trip and new lodgings in Colorado go. So if you live in the Colorado area, make sure to spot. If you think you've seen Comics Explained, you have, and go say hi and give him a big hug.
Rob Watch 2017.
But,
yeah, just come up to him, hug him, ask him for an autograph. He's a fan of all these things. He'll buy you lunch. He's a magical fellow like that.
Don't volunteer him to buy you lunch, but he will give you at least a fist pound. So keep an eye out for that. But Joel has a list
or
of
a
topics.
splooge, yes, Dave. You're right.
Thank you very much. So yeah, while we'll try to maintain his legacy, if you will, by
sploogecy.
Yeah, by having Tiffany keep up with the splooges. So with that in mind, let's get into the topics. Joel has a list of topics we're going to get into today, and we're just going to go through them. These are all the comic and comic-related news bits that we have gathered over the last few days. We're just going to talk them to death. Let's get into it. Joel, what's our first item?
Well, here's the thing. If Skype would actually let me get to my topics that I've written down, I would do to it. Yes, okay, so the first big story here, this is something that hit the net today, and it's already been developing as we sit here and do the show. I was sure to look back on this, and that is DC and Warner Brothers working on a Superman Red Sun movie?
I read the same article this morning. I got up, I look at my phone, it says Superman Red Sun in development, and the article, and normally I look at those titles and I go, and I just move on. But for whatever reason, I looked at it, and it seems to have more legs and life to it than anyone could imagine. So Joel, get into the nitty gritty about this Superman Red Sun. If you're not familiar, by the way, Superman Red Sun, comic book written by Mark Miller. The ending, by the way, written by Grant Morrison. But terrific Elseworld Superman story about what if Superman was a Soviet Russian.
Yeah, which is very timely in this day and age, I think.
Indeed. So,
well, the whole story kind of came about because apparently is it Mark Millar or Mark Miller? I know we always have this argument.
Always in the beginning I would say Millar because I've seen Frank Miller with an ER and I've seen Mark Miller with an AR, and but I've heard from more than several sources, including those in the comic book industry, Paul Jenkins, for example, who said it's Miller. So
okay, so Mark Miller was on Twitter talking it up with the director of Kong Skull Island. His name escapes me at the moment. But yeah, apparently he very early as 2 months ago was in at Warner Brothers in DC pitching a movie for Superman about Red Sun, and both were pretty surprised by this, actually.
And what's more is they seem to be interested in it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, maybe they feel like you said, it's timely. Maybe they're like, all right.
What a confounding idea. It's already confusing enough for comic book readers to keep the multiverse, together. I can't tell you how many layman people went in to see Suicide Squad and said, oh, this is in the same universe as Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman? I'm like, do you read?
Apparently not.
If you throw out a Russian Superman alternate reality movie, I think people's heads are gonna explode. I don't think we're ready for a multiverse movie universe.
No, for Elseworld movies, or is this just like they're like, look, we don't know what we're gonna do for the Cavill sequel when we eventually get around to it, so we're taking pictures from everyone. What would you do? Okay, what if he was a Russian? Let's do that then.
Right. It would be like if they were like, and we're also entertaining the idea of just doing a straight up adaptation of Dark Knight Returns with a different actor for Batman. Why not? Listen. I'm first in line to see a Red Sun movie because I am morbidly curious to see that thing
Same here.
Make water. But
right, but do you know if they're going to do it exactly like the book, or do you think they're just going to adapt it to make it work in the current storyline?
He's born in the Ukraine or in the fields of Russia or whatever.
Maybe someone steals his body
The dead body from Superman.
And resurrects him in the heart of the former Soviet Union.
And we get like this really weird version of that story.
It would kind of be like an adaptation of that and like the brainwashing stories from when he's like taken to Apocalypse.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, just make a movie where he's taken to Apocalypse and he's brainwashed by Darkseid. Like, make that movie. I don't know. It just seems really, really weird to go. Okay, how many movies are in our cinematic universe? 4,
give or take.
Let's not go off book right now, or off universe, if you will.
Do they have so little faith in Cavill and like a new Superman project where they're like, fuck it, let's just reinvent the wheel on this one?
I don't know. I mean, like, the thing about Cavill, and I feel bad for him because, like, the dude could play Superman.
He could.
But, you know, he hasn't played my Superman in a while, but, like, I don't doubt the man's ability to act. And I feel
wrong script, wrong time, wrong environment.
I mean, and for some it was the right time. But who knows? I mean,
Hang on. Before you keep going, though.
Yeah.
Ordered Saturn, just subscribed, and has actually been subscribed for 11 months in a row.
Whoa!
Hey.
Yeah.
Unlike Rob, I'm just gonna say thank you.
That's it. You're not gonna do anything.
I say thank you. Thank you's fine.
You're not gonna go splooge.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I'm sorry. First of all, it's
I will
not
not
my
cross
thing.
this line.
It's not my thing. If I did it, it would be like I'm aping off of Rob's style. Only Rob can do the splooge, and really only Rob's got it in him to do that many in a day.
So, it's true.
He's a machine, that man.
He must eat oysters. So what's so yeah, I mean, like, any final thoughts about Red Sun Superman the movie before we move on? Because I think the fact is it exists, there are legitimate talks. It's weird and confusing, and do you want to see it?
Only because I think it could be a wonderful garbage fire if they actually made. I can see it now. Henry Cavill coming back from the dead. He's got the Soviet sickle symbol. He's meeting the rest of the Justice League, and it's like, look, guys, I was resurrected in Russia. I talked to this guy Putin. He has a lot of good ideas for us and the rest of the world. I think.
Yeah, I think, like, here's the thing: is that Red Sun Superman is a beautiful story. It is so un-Mark Miller in its hope and its positivity.
So true.
That it's, like, actually, like, a fun read. I don't... Regardless of if they did a straight-up adaptation or not, people, just in general, would freak out.
They're not ready for it.
Yeah.
People aren't ready for when I wear my Red Sun Superman t-shirt on our Rinky Dink YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like, people will watch that and go, what the fuck is this? Are you endorsing communism now? And I'm like... It's a fucking shirt, man.
It's a reference, damn it.
I'm not, like, it's not the Comic Pop logo with the hammer and sickle in it. Comic Pop Red. Like, no.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
well,
right.
Maybe Warner Brothers just didn't understand what it meant, and then upon hearing it, we're like, oh.
Oh.
That could be very true, because again, the people they're pitching this to...
That would not surprise me at all.
They're like, oh, I thought you meant, like, the color of the sun, not, oh, yeah, no. No.
I could literally see Warner Brothers just going, I did a Google search for the top 10 best Superman stories of all time.
Right.
The top, like, in the 5 was this one called Red Sun. Do that
Which we assume, again, because from what you've told us, panel of people who kind of know what's going on, the Superman is powered by the sun. So obviously that is in reference to that.
And nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not?
Oh, what?
Oh, well. Yeah, no.
That's so likely. It's scary how likely that actually is. That, again, you're right. They're like, okay, well, you know, people say Red Sun's a good story. We're now hearing pitches for Red Sun from writers. Okay, the guy from Kong Island has a pitch. Yeah, we like that pitch. Let's do that.
Well, I can see them coming into the office. He's like, okay, so a rocket lands in Russia, and it's Superman, and he's raised by by the Russians, and then Stalin makes him his, like, top lieutenant. Like,
wow, I've never heard of this before. Are you just thinking of this off the top of your head, young man? Yeah, sure am.
And
maybe, hang on, just before you go any further into that, maybe what they'll do, I'm just going to totally derail you. I've derailed you.
Please.
Is instead of it being about Clark, they'll make it about Kara.
Oh.
And she's the one that lands there.
Oh,
Right.
shit.
And then Russia unveils they have their own superpowered
And it's
human
his
being.
cousin. I'd be okay with that.
That's actually cool.
They
That'd be messed
adapt
up.
it that way.
That'd be
Where
so
it
messed
still
up.
could, right? It still could take place in the world that they've established, but Russia's like, all right, we're ready. Here we go.
Yeah. That would be really
That actually
cool.
sounds okay.
That's the way to do it. Except you can't call it Red Sun.
Red Daughter doesn't
Actually,
have the same ring
you
to
could
it.
call it Red Sun. Just spell it like the sun.
That's right. That's right.
Because she's Project Red Sun, S-U-N.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, we also have Dat Silly Kitty, who has subscribed for an entire year.
Whoa! Thank
Yeah,
you.
damn.
A whole year. What? Come on. A whole year, they don't get anything. They don't get a...
I
Come
think
on.
that technically makes them a black belt.
It's true. Splooge.
Nobody? Yay! You did it.
Gadoosh. Nice.
Very nice.
Thank you. What's next?
Okay, so moving on from this thing that might happen, might not happen, we don't know. Some big news coming out of the MCU right here. I thought this was a rumor, then I thought it was a spoiler, then it turns out they basically had to admit, yeah, it's true. We now know officially the role that Donald Glover will have in the new Spider-Man Homecoming and how this connects to the greater MCU universe. Now, if people don't want this spoiled, I'm going to give them a chance to put their fingers in their ears and go la 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 for the next 5 minutes. But
All right, well,
apparently,
hang on. While they're doing that, before you do it, Ibby Kill, just subscribe
Nice.
to Twitch Prime.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the family.
That's awesome.
you get
All
a
right, now
golf clap.
There you go. And that's plenty of time for everyone to not have spoilers.
Right.
There you go.
I'll wave my arms and tell you that it's okay.
Yep.
All right, here we
Okay.
go. Cut it.
Okay, so in the novelization of Spider-Man Homecoming, it was revealed that Donald Glover's character's name is Aaron Davis, which means he is Uncle Aaron from the Ultimate Universe. He is the Prowler, which means he is Miles' uncle. This is interesting because apparently in the movie he drops references to his nephew, and that also means that Glover will be both Uncle Aaron and the voice of Miles in the animated movie, therein by actually bridging the gap between them.
Interesting. Cool.
Also,
I mean, like, that's neat.
Yeah.
That's neat.
It is.
Good for him.
That's bizarre because does that put Miles and Peter at a similar age, or is he little? Like, how
Well,
old
I'm
is
Donald's
assuming-
like what, like 20 something, like 25.
I'm glad you mentioned that because he's clearly a young man in this movie, and because they cast a much older actor, the guy from Luke Cage, actually, to be his uncle in the animated movie. I can only assume from this the animated Miles Morales movie takes place far into the future of the MCU,
Well, or it has
Gotcha.
no bearing on the MCU whatsoever.
or that.
which is
That's
probably
also
more
an
likely.
There's also that.
But yeah, okay. I mean, like, I'm totally down for Don Glover being Prowler.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. It's interesting because they've made no attempts to really bridge any of their properties like that. Like, it's either like they're in the cinematic universe, they're in the TV show universe, and sometimes that stuff kind of from the movie universe trickles into there. But
Well,
really,
you do have Coulson, who did his voice on the cartoons and was his character, but that's
Right.
like the one.
I think that he just is like, no, it's just me, and I'm available all the time. He's like,
true.
I'm coming right now. I don't care.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, they don't go out of their way to make the continuity really match up, typically. So that's... I wonder if it's going to be a new change. It also cements Spider-Man's universe more in the Marvel universe. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Which is fine.
Miles is getting a hell of a multimedia push right now, isn't he? From being the big stinger of the new video game to now this. Good for him. Good for him for taking off.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. That's cool.
Yeah, he earned it. He was worth it. He was that good a character. It's always special when a character really cements themselves in the zeitgeist. Like, it's rare that a new hero becomes a thing, and he's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
Yeah.
cool. All right.
Yeah, there's really
No,
not
it's-
much more to say.
Yeah, we can let them. You guys can listen now.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Hey!
Hey, everybody, you're back. Yeah,
Stuff
don't forget,
happened.
you can probably pre-order your tickets for Spider-Man Homecoming already. Which is why I'm gonna go do
Ooh.
that right now.
Right now.
But
But yeah,
what's
that's
next?
That was good. Okay, so keeping it in the realms of movies and everything. Hey, you remember that Dark Phoenix movie they got for X-Men?
Yeah.
You remember how
Yeah.
we were all really unsure about it and everything? Well, I think, guys, this is going to win you back over, and I'm pretty sure Fox hopes this will win you back over, too. It's been announced that for X-Men The Dark Phoenix, they're going to have Dazzler in it.
Finally.
Yeah. Let that sink in. Talk about being 2 movies too late. Why didn't you put her in the 70s one? That's the one movie I would have wanted to see her in.
It's amazing how nobody is in charge over there, because you made Jubilee your fan character in the last X-Men movie.
Yep.
In the decade she doesn't belong in.
Yep.
And then
Absolutely.
you're going to put Dazzler in the 10-year later one. Like, if ever Dazzler belonged in one of these movies, it probably should have been at least the 80s one, if not a 70s one.
I kind of like the idea for being in the 80s one, being like, no, Disco's not dead.
Yeah.
I won't let it go.
She's
At
the
least
one
then it'd be
holdout.
funny. But, like,
Right?
this is bizarre.
That is bizarre.
What a waste. You know what this is? I think this is a perfect example of Fox hearing fans and hearing messages, but getting them way too late. Where it's like, oh, what's that? You wanted Dazzler in these? Okay, we'll put her in the next one then. You're going to love it, right?
So wait, if she's going to be in the 90s one, is that correct? Is that what we're all
Yes,
saying
that's
here?
the idea.
Does that mean that she's going to have, like, rollerblades?
I hope so.
Oh.
I'm hoping that Dazzler... I would love it if Dazzler was the name of the band, and it's an all-chick band. There's like 5 Dazzlers. Like the Spice Girls.
I like that a lot, actually. And they're managed by the original Dazzler, who was a big deal back in the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
That could work.
Who's
I
played
like
by
that.
Pat Benatar. Or you get... or you make the Dazzlers black and play it like TLC.
Ah, that works, too. Don't go chasing light
Waterfalls.
falls.
Or, yeah, whatever the mutant joke would be.
I'm trying to expand it up. Look, that's why I don't get paid to write these.
Yeah.
That's right. Nah, it's all right. So at what point will we get the Clueless X-Men crossover kind of movie, where it's like the X-Men, but it's a Clueless movie?
That would
Surprised
be more
me.
like X-Men than any of the X-Men movies that we've seen probably so far.
I know,
Right?
A movie about the X-Men going to high school, their high school, and
Yep.
like just banging each other and like having existential crises for no reason.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be positively Claremontian.
Now we've done something good for the community. Now we should do something good for the world.
Exactly. I mean, like, come on. They might as well just go screw
That's
it.
a great superhero credo right there, is what that
They might-
is.
I mean, at this point, because they're getting Simon Kinberg is going to direct it, who wrote
Yes.
X-Men 3: The Last Stand and Fanforstic.
You know, all your favorites and who's never directed anything.
Oh, and
before.
directed nothing, exactly. So I got a lot of faith in this franchise. If that's the case and you don't care, which you obviously don't, you might as well just make a Mojo movie and cast everyone. Like, make it Days of Future Past times 1,000,000. And just have it be like every version. You can have X-Babies and CG characters. Use the CG animation from the Peanuts movie, but you make them X-Men. And just do everything, and then go, there, I got it out of my system. I had all the bad ideas. They were all at once. And I had like some like Louis Anderson or some fat character to play Mojo. I can't think of anybody right now. John
See,
Goodman
now I
could
really
play
want to
Mojo.
see that. Oh, actually, you know, John Goodman's an amazing actor.
He's a
He'd
great
probably
actor.
make an amazing Mojo.
He'd be great.
Oh man, no.
Or just do that, or if you want to go offensive, you can make Tom Cruise and put him in a fat suit like you did in Tropic Thunder.
Tropic
There you
Thunder.
go.
But in any case, I don't know.
Who's the king of queens? Make him Mojo.
Kevin James. Yeah,
Yeah.
Zookeeper.
Oh.
Make the Zookeeper.
And Kevin James as Mojo.
If you got the guys who made Tropic Thunder to make the X-Men Mojo movie, I would pay double to see that movie.
Same.
Or
You would
I-
have to pay double.
It's just reboots and
hate him.
Deadpool like everywhere.
Yeah, no, I love Tropic Thunder. I hate Mojo.
I know you think he's so gross.
Yes.
So gross.
He's
So
supposed to be gross.
I know he is. I know. I get that. So back to Dazzler real quick. Or do we know
Yeah.
if she's a character or is she just going to be like
They just said she's going to be in it. They don't say how much or to what purpose she will
right?
be
Like
in the movie.
she might be in like a music video.
I mean, here's
Yeah.
the thing: if this is a X-Men movie, then she will have no connection to the Dazzler that appeared in the last X-Men movie, which they reference in the last one. Was it Cyclops picks up like a Dazzler record and he shows it to Jean Grey, and so we already have a Dazzler reference. So if she looks nothing like that Dazzler, it will continue the tradition of noble X-Men films of having the last character in the last movie be completely different from the other character in the last movie.
Ah, what a proud tradition it is.
Yes, Kitty Pryde and Jubilee, I choose you.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna love too. It's been 30 years, and these actors won't look nearly as old as they should.
No. They'll make it work somehow. I don't know. All I know is I gotta tell you, Dazzler is not selling it for me.
No. I don't think Dazzler has sold anything for anybody ever. And somewhere our old buddy Faust is pulling his hair out right now.
Right? I don't know, guys. Dazzler, that's all right.
Fine. That's not enough for that's barely an announcement. If they wanted to say like the Brood were in it, I'd be like, oh, the Brood. Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Dazzler?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Whatever.
Look, if they were like, and then Bishop shows up.
Which he did
Also,
already. He was in the Days Past one and he didn't do anything.
I forgot.
You know.
I forgot he did, actually, he was too. No, like, he really shows up.
Yeah, he's literally a character in the movie.
Yeah,
For
with
a
his harmonica and everything.
Yeah.
Or they're like, and then Lilandra shows up.
I think they are teasing the Shi'ar are going to be in this movie.
Is she going to be in it?
I think you can't have the X-Men and the Shi'ar meet without having Lilandra.
That's true.
I'd like that.
The future.
Yep, exactly. The chat knows what's up. Future indeed.
All right, so basically I think what we're saying here is that Dazzler is not going to sell it for us.
No.
Not
unless
really.
it's unless it's an amazing casting decision.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Jessica Chastain is playing Lilandra.
That's fine. And Kesha is Dazzler.
No.
Hey, this is Fox, you gotta remember.
Everybody getting sent into space.
So are we literally taking this X-Men movie into space, or are we just gonna be like, no, they're space characters, but we're gonna stay here?
They're going
The
to space.
theory is they're taking them into space, because wasn't the working title of it something spacier?
It should be. It has to be.
I don't know.
But
The only place they haven't gone yet.
it's the only place they haven't gone yet. All right, they haven't really gone underwater either.
Hey, there's time for
They
that.
need to do that. There's
Hey, you
nobody
never
left
know.
underwater for them to have. There's no underwater characters for them. They couldn't
is
even
very
license
true.
Namor.
No, they'll just make up their own.
But
So
what
I
about
hope
Riptide, though? He did some shit with the water. What about him?
I love the water. No.
they should just go for it. Just totally go for it. If you cast Lilandra, just put him in space.
Put him in space.
Just total space.
Already gone back in time. You can only go into space from there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
And then from there they can go away.
It's so weird, Fox, where it's like you did so good with the 1-2 punch of Deadpool and Logan. It's nice to see you learned absolutely nothing to help you fix the main X-Men movies.
They
Right.
did so good with the first 2 X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Those movies are solid. And then they were like, oh, wait, give it to Brett Ratner. And then they were like, oops.
Oops, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, both first times were good. I quite enjoyed Days of Future Past and First Class.
I like Days of Future Past more than First Class.
Really?
Well, I let's not get into who likes what. First Class is fine. It's got some positive notes.
By the way, I also enjoy the fact that everyone's mentioning the Savage Land.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I know you don't like Mr. Sinister, but I kind of like Mr.
Really
Sinister.
don't. But you could do Sauron.
I'd be okay with all of that.
Sauron was back in the comics just recently. They made him a big deal in a Secret Empire tie-in.
I
Right?
wonder if what's it called? Do they have Khazar? Can they use Khazar?
That'd be fun.
That would be kind of fun.
That would be the lowest point.
See,
Wait for
that-
everyone to love Khazar.
I gotta tell you, though, they should have done that first before going into space.
Yeah.
It's hard to go from space to dinosaurs.
It
Yeah.
Although I
is.
love dinosaurs.
That
Who
said,
doesn't
though,
love dinosaurs?
No one would not take that. They would be like,
I know.
"Oh, dinosaurs. I'm in."
Except, could you imagine that sell to Fox? Be like, okay, so they go there. All right, great. And then they're using their powers. No, they can't use their powers. What? No, they can't use their powers. They're just people.
Or maybe they'd love it, though, because imagine how much money they would spend on special
On
effects
not
if you had a
using
whole
their
X-Men
powers.
movie
Well, they-
where they didn't have to use any powers.
Yeah.
Right? But I can imagine, what's the point? Be like, what do you mean, what's the point? They're still their characters. No.
Yeah, no. Their characters are boring now.
I was going to say, what characters? Only Magneto, Mystique, and Professor X have any characters in this new cycle of films, which is why they have to bring them back.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. So, I look, I'm going to see it regardless. It's going to happen. Dazzler or not, but I'm not going to see it because of Dazzler.
No.
I'm just telling everybody that, all right?
Etch that in stone. Let that echo throughout the internet. Not for Dazzler.
It's not for you, Dazzler. It's not for you.
No.
We didn't do it for you, Dazzler. This isn't for you.
It never is.
So, what else do we got?
Well, moving on from there was a little thing, earlier in this week, a little rollout of a little new thing that Marvel might be doing. You could have heard of it once or twice. It's I'm not assuming it's the reason many people are watching today, but it's Legacy. We finally got to hear what Legacy is going to be all about, and we got all the different titles for Legacy. I say different when in reality the big takeaway from it is not much is different, actually.
No, the thing about Legacy, or at least the recent development about Legacy is, I want to know who said, like, where was the quote that said that the comic book industry would be changed? Because I want to know who to blame for that rumor / announcement, because it and by the way, like in the Weekly Pull chat, we were all like talking about like what we were trying to parse what the hell just happened, because Marvel's like, because from what we understood, from what I can glean about it, the original like announcement, because we heard about Legacy, there was rumblings, there was a couple of Joe Quesada images, and so, but there were rumors that Marvel Legacy was going to be like the DC rebirth for Marvel, even though there was nothing to support that. We just kind of like knew that there was.
Everyone just jumped to that conclusion.
Yeah, everyone just assumed, because there was a thing called Legacy, and also there was a thing called Generations, and they're two different things. We'd heard that Marvel said that what they had to say in a few days was that the comic book industry itself would be changed forever. It wasn't it's similar to the hyperbole that Marvel usually said, which is they'll crack the internet in half, or the Marvel universe will never be the same again. It's a classic.
Break the internet.
Yeah, it's a classic phrase that Marvel has buried and beaten to the ground. But to change the comic book industry forever, that was a bold and new thing to say out loud. And when they announced it a few days later, we all were talking, we're like, it looks like it's just variant covers.
It's literally all the books you're reading now, but with a fresh coat of paint on them.
It's not even a fresh coat of paint. A fresh coat of paint is like new artists.
Yeah.
This is just covers that homage covers from 40 years ago.
And no real discussion about what's going to be happening. Does anything tie these together, or is it basically just business as usual?
Yeah. So I think what we should do is try and figure out exactly what Marvel Legacy, what we know about what the hell Legacy is supposed to be, and how in the hell we need to bring, how we can bring ourselves to care.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, isn't it?
What we don't know, right? If there are going to be any major cancellations. If there's going to be any creator shakeups at the books,
which is weird. I'm glad you mentioned the creator thing, because they put the artist foot forward before they even mentioned the writer creative teams, which makes me think the fact that they didn't do that is because most of these books are staying in the hands of the people they're already with.
They did when they announced Marvel Now 2.0, an all different Marvel. Like, there was no major shift. And I have no reason to believe that Marvel's going to make those changes right now anyway.
Which is honestly not too much of a problem with me, because as I've said many times before, characters aren't the problem. The writers aren't the problem. It's the editorial that's the problem. The same editorial that would say, this will change the internet forever. This will change Marvel forever.
That's the thing, is that, and I've said this a couple times, or I've heard this before, Marvel publishes like almost twice the amount of books that DC does.
It has been scaled down a bit.
But they have half the editorial staff. And I feel like Marvel's just kind of in this really weird situation where they're trying to save money when they don't have to, and they're alienating their creative when they don't have to, and they're undercutting the current crop of creators that they rely on, when they don't have to. It's just, they're making these decisions, and it's like, I don't know. and I've said this before, I feel like it's not that someone's making really bad decisions, it's that no one's making any decisions.
Yeah, that's a perfect representation of what's going on here. It's even funnier, too, because they haven't even mentioned the books that aren't coming back. Like, there's no, like, full list of it. Like, Ultimates is gone.
Yep.
Occupy Avengers is gone. Infamous Iron Man is either gone or ending in its own terms, and they're going to be folding that into Invincible Iron Man, and that's just going to be one book now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very hard to kind of keep track of everything that came and went. Wasp is gone.
Right.
That's another one that's gone, which, again, too, some people didn't even know their books they liked were gone until they looked deeper into it, because they're not even like an official, like, oh, this is gone now.
I mean, and rumor has it, Infamous Iron Man might be ending soon?
Yeah, either on its own terms or they're just going to be folding it. Like, maybe it was only ever meant to be a miniseries or something.
Huh. Have you guys read their press release, like the one from Marvel?
No.
No, I don't think so.
About this back in April when they first were like, let's talk about Marvel Legacy, because don't forget Marvel Legacy is not only this initiative but also it's a book itself.
It's actually a book.
Yes.
You're right. Good point.
That'll be a 50-page number one by Jason Aaron.
Right.
Which is like, okay, that sounds like another thing that is going on in another comic book company. But according to them, they say that Marvel Legacy, featuring the most popular characters in the world and blockbuster new storylines, the House of Ideas returns long-running titles to their original series numbering with a renewed sense of hope, wonder, enjoyment, and fun. We want fans to get fired up. Simple as that, says Marvel Editor-in-Chief Axel Alonso. Marvel Legacy will decide once and for all if the Marvel Universe is big enough for Miles and Peter, Riri and Tony, Thor and Jane Foster, Laura, and dare I say Logan. Spoiler alert, it is. That's like, okay. I mean, and it goes on from there. Yeah. But that sounds like we want to have our cake and eat it too.
Yeah, which is something I will actually applaud Marvel Legacy for. They didn't kowtow to a lot of the louder, angrier voices on the internet and in the comic community. They didn't throw out a bunch of the new Legacy heroes. They didn't throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's true, but it also just sounds like they don't have any direction because of that. Because they're like, well, no, we want to keep anyone we brought in that might be new, but we also want to make they're just trying to make everybody happy, and I think in doing so, they're diluting what they have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Try and please everybody, and you'll please nobody.
I mean, I've said a million times, like, you don't... The way to make Spider-Man special is not to add 16 more Spider-Men. And that's just one example. It's a microcosm of the overall problem that Marvel's having, where Alonso seems to be saying, based on the press release that you read, well, some of the books that we sold that people don't like are still selling well, though, and so we're going to keep those. But it sounds like the loudest voices would be interested in buying some of our other comics that we stopped using, so we're going to do those too. There is no direction, and there is no stopping it or voice of reason within the company itself, or at least from the perspective of a leader. I was talking to Tiffany off camera earlier today regarding this initiative, and actually let's add to the Marvel Legacy announcement by saying that was the announcement. The announcement was, here are all these covers, we're going back to old numbering for some of the books, and
but not all
of them, and nothing is different, and everyone's coming back. You're going to have all the characters you want, except for the X-Men, and that's it.
We're also not going to disturb the books you're reading right now, which is good, but we're also saying this is changing everything, and you should get excited, even though it's business as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's so frustrating about this.
Right. But you also have... There's another point I wanted to... that was the announcement. And today, Marvel has said that they're going to do another announcement.
Yep.
Oh.
With the Comic Book Retailers Association.
Yes, right. That was happening today. They wanted to assuade a bunch of concerns that they had.
So they come out there and they're like, "Hey, everybody, we're making a huge announcement. It's gonna blow your fucking mind. Here's a bunch of variant covers." And everyone said, "Whoa, that's it?" And they went, well, okay. You didn't like that. Well, let me add to that by saying." And it's interesting that the choice of venue, or the choice of venue that they're going to be making more announcements, is through the Comic Book Retailers Association, through these people sell the books, who probably came back to them, or at least the rumor came from a large number of retailers who said, we're going to be reducing our numbers of Marvel orders because this is not going to fix anything. And they're like, oh, you're going to buy less books? Fewer books, rather? How is that possible? We just told you we're releasing a whole bunch of cool covers.
I think it speaks volumes about where their heads are at, too, where it's like, well, let's save the good stuff for the retailers, though, and not the fans.
I don't think that they're saving anything. I think they thought I think they thought they had a mic drop moment, and then everyone left. And they went, whoa, okay. And then they went to ask for their money back, and that's when they were like, oh, shit, we have to really start telling them, like, what we're going to do here to fix it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, again, like, I was just kind of going through this older press release, again, directly from Marvel. I'm on Marvel's website, like, I'm just looking through it right now, and it's just the fact that they're saying one thing and then immediately following it up with something different. Like, they're talking about how they're going back to classic numbering, and they're honoring legacy, and they're going to honor, like, history and stuff like that. But they're also going to make sure that there are clean entry points for every series.
Right. How is that possible?
with new legacy numbering, yeah.
How is that possible when your homage, your all the big thing, the big selling point was these cool covers that are referencing books that are decades old.
And some are pretty cool.
But the new reader doesn't know what the fuck they're looking at.
Yeah, I don't understand this at all. And again, like, just, it's sad because reading through this is something they put together. This is something that a lot of, like, this, again, the thing I'm reading is from April, and I'm trying to use that to understand what happened just the other day. And this is something that we all know someone had to write and go through and get approval, and someone else wrote a little bit more, and they had to get quotes, and they had to think about what was being put out, and was it too much, and was it not enough? A lot of time went into this, right? Oh, yeah. And it's so confusing and makes me feel like they don't know what they're doing, even more so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should maybe, like, as a fun little thing here to help, move the show there, should I actually go through and talk about the few things that are actually new in Marvel Legacy, and we can gauge how we feel? Okay, so the first kind of new big thing that they're talking about is the Hulk family of books is getting moved around. Totally Awesome Hulk is actually becoming Incredible Hulk, and they seem to be teasing that they will be doing a big return to Planet Hulk. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's a thing. Wasn't it destroyed?
I don't know. We see Amadeus Cho all dressed up in warrior shit, and no doubt this will help coincide with the Planet Hulkish stuff happening in Thor Ragnarok.
Right? And, like, here's the thing about, all right, just that alone, just the first book out of the gate here that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Can you imagine later on, let's say a couple of years from now, you hear about Amadeus Cho, and you're like, oh, I want to know more about him. And you're like, well, where do I start? Well, you start in Totally Awesome Hulk. Okay, and then what happens? Well, then you pick up Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
But why? Well, because Marvel.
Also,
because they had to move the names.
Let's reference an event from 10 years ago, and let's make it less special by doing it all over again. You know, like, it would be like if the Marvel Legacy was going to be hinged on Civil War 3. You know, like, who cares? And also, like, I don't know what that is if I'm a new reader. You know,
comic sequels are rarely as good as the originals, are they? They have a real problem.
They have a real... Yeah, of course, yeah.
now that I stop and think about it, I'm like, has any comic book sequel ever been genuinely good?
I don't know.
That's a good question.
There's a lot of low cards in that deck. Civil War 2, Dark Knight 2 and 3.
Secret Wars 2, Infinity
all right, well, we could go
Crusade.
into that for that's a totally different conversation.
There is another topic. So again, keeping with the Hulk thing, She-Hulk, which is just now called Hulk, will be going back to being called She-Hulk. She also seems to be green again, which I thought is a little disappointing because I actually kind of enjoyed the more wild, feral, gray-skinned Hulk they're doing. But probably because the creative teams aren't going to be changed, we'll probably get to see that story actually come to a conclusion before they switch back over.
I really was disappointed by the end of She-Hulk, like the first arc, and so I'm completely fine with them being like, let's not do that. Let's not do that anymore.
I picked up the next issue. It was actually, it got a little better. It's still kind of interesting. I'm not ready to give up on it yet. As I mentioned before, Invincible Iron Man is going back to being the only Iron Man book now. Infamous is coming to a close, and it looks like they're folding the Riri and Doctor Doom book into one, which is fine by me because it'll probably be Bendis at the helm anyway. And he starts writing and he forgets to stop most of the time. Just look at his X-Men book, so this was going to happen anyway.
Right, which is interesting because in that previous press release they mentioned Riri and Tony, not Riri and Doom.
Right, and I guarantee it would probably be more interesting to watch Riri be the like to see Doom take on another protege, another young female protege.
Yeah,
Plus,
I like it.
What a cool for all those people who like hate Riri or whatever. Like, wouldn't it be cool if they made her into a female Doctor Doom?
That'd be weird. I mean, well, it's funny because they're already teasing the idea that what is it? Hollow Tony is evil.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be funny if the two Iron Men have to team up together to defeat evil Hollow Tony?
That'd be cool. I'd be down with that. Or they have to wake up old Tony to get the other thing back. I don't know.
If they even know where Tony is, that's another bit of discontinuity. It's like, did the Iron Man family know he's in a coma and Cap is keeping him and all this other shit?
Right?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I'm a big fan of the Luke Cage book, so it survives. Admittedly, all the Defenders books survived, which is kind of cool. I'll keep reading most of them.
Right.
They seem to be teasing a big fight between the Champions and the Avengers that is being masterminded by the High Evolutionary because he's on both covers.
Oh my God.
Right.
Okay. First of all, no more High Evolutionary stories. And secondly, so we are gonna get Civil War 3.
Who's more annoying, the High Evolutionary or Kang?
I say Kang.
It's a dead heat. I think. Kang at least has history. Like Kang, I really don't have any patience for the High Evolutionary, so I'll take Kang.
But he comes from Counter Earth and he has Beast Man.
Yeah, that really sucks.
No, it's funny too because obviously as a big fan of the Champions and as a big torch holder for the Champions, was not the marching order of that team that they were fed up with the adults always fighting each other all the time and they were going to go work together and build a better future. So now they're going to be fighting the older Avengers anyway.
It'll probably be the nail in the coffin that ends Champions. Because, as I understand it, Champions is not wowing anybody. Let me take a look, actually, at while you guys are talking.
Yeah, all right, well, what's next?
At the sales for Champions.
It's unfortunate. I like it. The Infinity Gauntlet is coming back into play in the pages of Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, no doubt to help hype up Infinity War. It's actually probably one of my favorite homage covers they have because it's Gamora holding it and they have like the whole Marvel Cosmic Universe behind her.
Cool.
All right.
I'm not reading Guardians, but I'm sure if you are, that would be a thing. That might be
exactly.
fun. Clint Barton, because obviously they've disbanded the Occupy Avengers. He's going back to the Hawkeye book, and it looks like he's going to be sharing it with Kate now, and it's going to be the two Hawkeyes in one book, which is fine. I think they're a good tag team. I think they work well together.
That's fine. You know what I'd like to see? This is just a quick pitch. West Coast Avengers, again.
I'm working on a West Coast Avengers pitch, actually. If we ever do another one of those fan castings, I have one. I'll tell you about it.
Give it to Clint. He had the West Coast Avengers last time. Just do a West Coast Avengers. Take the Champions and some Avengers that nobody's using and put Hawkeye in charge, put him over there, and tell your stories about LA, because everyone's over there anyway. Have a good time.
Yeah. But Wonder Man is back alive now. I'm sure he'd love to hang out
He'd love to do that.
LA.
Are you kidding me? By the way, really quick aside, Champions sells worse than Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, which sells 25,000 copies right now.
Do you have the trade numbers there? Because all these like younger legacy heroes do better in trades.
I do not
than
have
Amazon
the trade numbers in front of me, but I will say that month to month, Champions is selling worse and worse and worse. Champions sold 106.
That's sad. That's a heartbreaker for me.
Yeah.
Hey, so Sinister Six, we like them, right? Miles Morales looks to be fighting his own version of the Sinister Six now.
Fine.
Okay.
Whatever.
Who's on the team? We got Spot, we got Sandman, we got the new female Electro, a new Hobgoblin, a new possible Venom, possible Superior Octopus, and Bombshell, his like somewhat gal pal who survived the Ultimate Universe, is actually on the bad guys team.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be fun. I dropped off Spider-Man when it got lost into crossover land, but this might actually be enough to get me back in.
We'll see. I'll have to hear the buzz. I dropped that book again, like when he spent more time in Spider-Gwen than Spider-Gwen did.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. That made me lose a little. Yeah, that made me drop off. Sal, you're 100% correct on this one. If you watch the Elseworld Exchange, Sal went on a thing there talking about how Deadpool will probably return to his anti-hero roots.
Yeah.
And yeah, his new book is getting rebranded The Despicable Deadpool.
Oh my god. Yep.
So you called that one 100%. Surely he will be a pariah to the superhero community because he backed Hydra Cap. This is probably one of the few books where it actually looks like the Secret Empire happened and we're seeing the fallout from it.
Yeah.
Also, fallout, and speaking of Hydra backers, is the Punisher becoming the new War Machine? This cover would seem to say yes, and also Tim Bradstreet did the cover, so I like it a whole lot.
Yeah, that was kind of confusing looking at that.
Yeah.
Can I just say also that the Moon Knight one, that's just lazy.
It is. It's literally the same cover over again.
It's just kind of lazy.
They phoned that one in super hard. But yeah, Punisher being War Machine kind of makes sense. The identity's open. He's like a war guy himself. He probably needs the extra muscle and the extra suit power now that he's probably getting hunted by the heroes and everyone else for being a Hydra sellout.
Yeah. I'm 100% okay, by the way, with Punisher putting on Iron Man armor and shooting people with War Machine armor. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Another guy who looks to be going back to his more anti-hero roots.
Yeah, good. Like, I can imagine like Punisher being like, "Damn it, why did I do that? Why did I behave so terribly out of character and joined Hydra like everybody else did?"
They gave me a blank check and said I could kill whoever I wanted and it would count as patriotism.
Right. I guess that's fair.
Also, I'm insane and you shouldn't like me as much as you do.
Yeah, also, I'm not a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Jerry Conway, his original creator, when he saw like cops driving around with Punisher emblems on their car, he's like, no, you're not supposed to like him, no.
At the very least, cops should not be endorsing the Punisher.
They really shouldn't.
But by that same token, I think I'm more of a fan of Garth Ennis's Punisher than I am of Jerry Conway's Punisher. So the jury's still out on what Ennis thinks about old Frank and how necessary he is.
Yeah, Black Panther remains, but we lose World of Wakanda, and we already lost the crew. So there's another couple ones you can add to the canceled pile. Fine. So they did cull the herd a little bit on these books. Daredevil is going to be fighting the Kingpin again. Actually, Charles Soule is building up to that right now, and it's classic Kingpin in his white and everything else.
But will he have magic?
I don't know. We'll have to see about that.
Because did you see the cover of Kingpin and Doctor Strange, where like Doctor Strange has like a, I don't know what the hell weapon he has, but Kingpin has a magic wand.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're dealing. No, remember he bought into it. He used his money and bought magic.
Right, which you can buy apparently. Like I bought the other day. I spent over it cost me about $6,000, but I bought some clouds.
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
And I'm putting the down payment on some dreams as well.
Man, you need some dreams. You need to carry them around in your pocket, is what you need to.
And I'm hoping. I don't know if I can get a loan from the bank, but I'm looking to invest in some wishes as well.
That's a good investment. That can only go up.
Well, I need something to open up my unicorn farm.
What kind of unicorns? Are they the winged kind or the non-winged kind?
They start out winged, but then I take off their wings so they can't fly.
There you go. Well, I mean, obviously, it would be hard to keep a unicorn farm if they kept flying away.
Yeah, it would be inhumane if they were real.
Speaking of Doctor Strange, Tiff, I'm sure you saw this. We lose Sorcerer Supreme.
It's fine.
It was arguably the superfluous book. And Doctor Strange, in a kind of new costume, looks to be battling Loki. All right.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, they keep changing up his... nobody can decide what he's wearing anymore. Nobody can decide what the Sorcerer Supreme should be wearing.
I think you know what he should be wearing.
I do know what he should be wearing. At least he looks seemingly from the cover like he's going back to having the symbol, which I like, but it seems like he has like the Aaron cloak, which is fine because I like that too. I don't know. Right now, I'm not terribly pleased with Doctor Strange, so we'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
Monsters Unleashed survived the purge. That's a surprising one.
That I can't believe.
Of all the books they cut, they didn't cut that one. That's really surprising. People are freaking out they lost their Ultimates, but Monsters Unleashed stays.
Poor Al Ewing.
I know, right?
And
I
poor
know.
Rob.
Yeah, I know. Those are the two. I could see his tears.
Yeah, it's rough.
Dawkins looks to be coming back to fight Laura in Wolverine.
Cool, maybe she'll kill him.
For good this time. He was already dead.
She needs to go back in time and make it so he never existed.
And stop him from happening. Hey, remember, Sal, when we were pitching books, I had an idea for a Midnight Suns book?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they took my idea and made it slightly lamer with Spirits of Vengeance.
First of all, I like the name Spirits of Vengeance.
It's a good name.
Um,
It should have been called Midnight Suns, but it's a fine replacement.
I know.
We got Blade, we got Satana, we got Damien Hellstorm, who I'm always a fan of, even if he is slightly unsellable, and Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, all on a team together. All right, that's genuinely new. That's something we didn't have before.
That's true.
Yeah.
Really quick aside about that. Did you hear Kevin Feige talk about how he'd like to make a Blade movie?
No, I didn't. Please tell me.
That's all. I just want to say, Feige mentioned Blade.
Which is good.
It's good, but I'd rather have a Blade Netflix Marvel TV show than I would a Blade movie, because the last thing I want to see is Blade do anything with the Avengers or Spider-Man.
That's fair. Scarlet Spider survives the Purge, also kind of interesting.
Yeah, they probably want to keep Peter David happy.
I guess
They keep
so.
canceling his books.
They're like, don't go.
Hey, Iron Fist is going to be fighting Sabretooth again, and Sabretooth is back to his classic costume, which he hasn't had for a long
No,
time.
he hasn't had that in a long time. I like that costume. I think it's classic, and I mean, like, hopefully that'll be one step closer to Sabretooth fighting Wolverine some more.
Yeah. It's like, is Sabretooth still a bad guy or not? His morality is always up and down.
Yeah. I don't know.
As an old school Iron Fist fan, I like the idea of him fighting Sabretooth again, because people forget Sabretooth was originally an Iron Fist villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanos gets to continue, which is also nice. I enjoyed that book. I assumed that would be a mini-series, but it's sticking in
I
there.
heard that it was a miniseries. Who's writing that?
Lemire.
I thought
I
he
just-
left Marvel.
Nope.
Or
Nope, he's
was
still
leaving
writing.
Marvel.
Apparently not.
I'm happy
Maybe
to
I like
hear
that
he's
they-
not. Thank God.
I like that they have to put in an ongoing series for that. They're like, don't get confused.
Here's the thing. Every Marvel
it's okay.
book is an ongoing series until it isn't. So what they should do is they should only label the miniseries. But because every book will keep going if you let it, but also every book will be canceled inevitably. So every book is also a miniseries.
Now, we lost Occupy Avengers. USA Avengers gets to stay, which I'm pretty sure is also Ewing. I could be wrong, and it actually looks to be going in a cosmic direction, because it looks like they're looking for the missing Speedball, or no, Cannonball, who got lost somewhere out in space, and they got his alien wife. Uncanny stays too, and they seem to be implying that perhaps Scarlet Witch is also returning to her villainous roots, or maybe she just stayed possessed at the end of Secret Empire. Who knows?
Or she stayed inverted or something. Like,
Oh, no, we're past inversion. Now it's demonic possession.
right.
Ah, it happens.
Yeah.
Spider-Man versus Deadpool looks to be the brand new Deadpool versus miniseries that they were always do anyway, so I'm certain Colin Bunn will write this, and they actually have a fairly decent reason for Spider-Man to be fighting Deadpool now, again with the whole being a Hydra turncoat, even though Deadpool knew it was wrong, and I think those miniseries always sell super good. Deadpool Punisher ends this week.
I had heard that that was going to be kind of like the continuation of the Spider-Man and Deadpool series by Joe Kelly, that it's like they're going to evolve Spider-Man and Deadpool into Spider-Man versus Deadpool, but apparently it's something else.
Maybe it is.
But, you know, who knows what they could do in the future. So, you're getting some new series. That's what they should have really
definitely
focused on, was like
Yeah.
announcing and being excited about the new series and how it was going to inform the greater Marvel Universe, and how, like, really focus on these stories that are about these characters and not about the larger implications. The larger implications will be felt, you know, if they are large and they have some kind of bearing on the universe itself, but really, like, this is the time to get into your favorite team or your favorite character and just read those stories and jump on board. That's what they really should be doing. And
Yeah.
they
No.
shouldn't have started with the big number change. They should have done the number change after. Do a little Trojan horse. Do that thing that they did with Amazing Spider-Man, where they relaunched it, but they put the little old numbering and faded, opacity right below it, and then eventually when it hits a milestone number, switch over.
Yeah, I could see it. To me, this is a terrific example of how much they don't get it. How much they're like, okay, obviously everybody wants us to go back to the classics, but we also like some of these new characters, so we will combine our new teams and books with old covers, and everyone's going to love it because that'll prove to them just how much we are committed to that idea. Even though all that says is, here's a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
I know you have a fatal wound,
But I'm going to put this on it.
this should tide you over.
But it's a
Here.
Scooby-Doo Band-Aid, though.
No, it's a Spider-Man Band-Aid.
Right.
It's all right, though.
We're not going to change the creative teams. We're not going to change the overall editorial direction. We're not going to change the prices.
Nope.
Which is all the problems everyone has.
No, it's true, but to me that just says they don't understand what the actual problem is.
No. Well, because like I said, I don't think anybody's in charge. Or whoever is in charge is just simply not allowed to do anything.
Yeah.
Which is so contrary to how I remember Marvel running even 10 years ago. It's unbelievable.
There's more too here as we talk about what's actually new. And what is probably my favorite of the actual homage covers, they're hyping up the possible death of the mighty Thor, and it's the comic that looks like the death of Marvel, which is interesting because it was both cancer, so hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's an interesting call.
Aaron will probably be on the head of this, so it's going to be good. Although, here's my theory. I already smell a fake-out happening. I don't think they're going to kill the Mighty Thor. I think they're going to kill Jane Foster, but the Mighty Thor Thunder Goddess shall live on.
Yeah.
Because we got extra hammers now, and I think she's already really done a good job, finding her own little niche in the universe, and I think Aaron likes writing her a whole lot, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think he likes her as a character, and he really has put his print on that. He's just nope, here we go, done.
Yeah.
You know how much I think they like her? I'm looking at the cover right here. It's the only one that actually has Jason Aaron and Dodderman and Wilson on it. He actually put his name on this one. None of the other ones have creative teams. This one has a creative team.
He's this is me, don't forget.
Yeah, this is me, everyone. Miss Marvel continues. Good job.
Right.
Here's an interesting one. No Captain America books of any kind, but Sam Wilson shall continue as the Falcon with a brand new costume.
I'm sure that's a big thing. I'm sure that is, the end of Secret Empire will yield what happens with Captain America Captain America's title. We're in a weird place where you can't not have a Captain America book coming out, which is phenomenal to me because as a kid, it didn't matter and it wasn't selling very well. But yeah, I guarantee you that's not a mistake, and it's also not indicative of where the Captain America title is. That's they're saving it. It's a little announcement that they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed to see Sam more or less admit defeat and go back to being Falcon. I would have liked to have seen him power through and be like, no, I'm going to be the new Captain America for a new generation. But then again, in the story, the Captain America mantle has been pretty fucking tarnished about now.
I don't think anyone wants to be Captain America right now.
Time to go back to being the Falcon.
Yeah. Hey, there's never been a Nazi as the Falcon.
Yeah. He should start introducing himself as that. Hey, that you might have wanted Tracy Morgan, but you got the Falcon. At least I'm not a Nazi, though.
Yeah.
Weapon X continues to go on, so you got all the X-Men books there. The other only real big new book of note, and got to give Rob credit on this one because he freaking called this one with his future sight, much like you called Deadpool. Marvel 2-in-1 is coming back, so the Human Torch and the Thing are going to have a buddy book now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
check it out.
That's something close to a Fantastic Four book.
Yeah, it's half a Fantastic Four book.
Yeah.
If they're smart, the first arc about it will be Johnny and Ben getting back together and be like, man, we really got to find Reed, Sue, and the kids. We kind of been sitting on our hands. Let's go look for them.
You don't need to look for them. They were doing work. They were busy. Like,
but we're lonely now.
Whatever. You have a million friends. Thing was on the new Avengers for a few days. Like,
he sure was.
You know, do something else. I mean, I get it. I like the Fantastic Four, but I'll openly admit I never really bought the book. I'm part of the problem.
Yeah. Looks fun though, and that's basically everything that's new. Everything else is more or less just business as usual. I think someone said the actual head count at the end of it is 52 books, which is ironic for Marvel that they have 52.
Yep.
That's hilarious. And I think like 5 or 6 canceled and like 2 new ones added.
So that gives the tally. How many books are coming out by Marvel? Is it more than 45?
Yes.
Because holy crap, that is too many freaking comics at $5 a piece.
No, it is. It's, you know, unfortunately, it seems like what they're doing is they're like, we'll just put things out, we'll see how they sell, and we'll cancel the ones that don't work.
Right. That's
and
almost
it's
like if you released 52 new books as part of your 52 initiative, and then finding out that like no one has money for that. DC literally did this already.
Yeah. Yep.
And proved it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Marvel has some good ideas sometimes. They really do. Yeah. Right? When Marvel is actually creating, they can really accomplish some amazing stories. I mean, people really enjoyed Secret Wars. They really thought something great was going to come from that. But I think that inwardly, they're either understaffed or the people in charge are just unwilling to listen to those who are surrounding them. Yeah. And so we end up getting these really superficial fixes to things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a fix. They can't even call it a fix. It's just...
No.
It's just smoke and mirrors is what it is.
It is. I think to them, they really do believe that they're addressing
what they're doing is they're really fixing it, because I don't think it's like no one, it's like someone was in charge. It's like they're covering up a murder. You know, like somebody, you know what I mean? It's like someone killed the guy in charge, and they're like, just put out books until we get a new guy, or until we get him to the hospital and can can come up with a better cover story. Like,
are you saying they're weekends at burning it now? That there's just
Marvel's
a guy
corpse, and they're taking him to parties, and he's coming up with these great new ideas. But they think it's like a whimsical comedy, but to the rest of it, it's just a rotting corpse being flailed about in our beach community. It's inappropriate.
No, it is. And here's what's funny: like, people are buying their books; they're making money.
They are buying the books,
and
a lot of them are still pretty good.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, we're not saying like Marvel isn't writing good stories.
No, you can't
right?
say
It's like no, but what I think we can say is just that. It's just that Marvel doesn't feel like right now, like as a whole, are operating the way that they should be.
They're not moving in the same direction.
They're not
like
even operating like a comic book company. Like, no one in the industry is doing this, but that's not like a Valiant thing to say. You know, where it's like, oh, look at what they're doing. No one in the industry is doing this. No one in the industry is doing this.
Yeah.
Stop. It's like when Disney doesn't do good animation. It's like, what the fuck are you good? What are you doing? It's like when UPS doesn't deliver your packages. Like, what the fuck is what do you do?
Which they do.
What would you say you do here? Like, I get that like Marvel Studios makes movies, right? But that's a company over there, and they are in charge of making movies. There's no doubt in my mind that everyone who works for Marvel Studios makes movies. They do some component that makes a movie come out. But Marvel Comics is a comic book publishing company. And if they're not publishing comic books that people want to buy, then what the crap are they doing? Because some people are saying that they're beholden to the Marvel Studios and that they're a movie company first. No, they're a conglomerate and they make many things. That studio company makes movies. This publishing company makes comic books. Nothing that they're publishing right now is fodder for movies, TV shows, and cartoon shows. Nothing they're making over the last 5 years is fruit that you could use for the salad of these movies. There's nothing that they're doing that lends credence to that theory. They're just not focusing the attention necessary to do a good job. Now, it could be that the people in charge are not focusing their attention or putting the right people in charge to make these things run smoothly, but that's a different question. But it's
there's
obvious.
a distinct lack.
There's a distinct lack of leadership and quality control.
And even just a grand unifying theory, too. Like, I mean, one of the best things about DC Rebirth is that it feels like it's all moving in a direction. They all feel like small parts of a much bigger, well-oiled machine.
Even when those parts don't fit together or aren't in any way related, you know, like Deathstroke and his speedsterness, it's like, what does that have to do with Doomsday Clock? Like, fuck all. But, like,
nothing.
But it's fine because it's a cool story, but you can't argue that, like, they're not focusing on making comics people want to read, and the comics that they want people to read that maybe people won't read because it's not called Batman, they're making $2.99.
Yeah. And
when they're not $2.99, when they're collected in a trade paperback, they're $8 or $12. Like they're affordable trades.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't had to cancel anything yet, which is actually pretty amazing.
That's unfathomable in this market today.
Blue Beetle, Cyborg, still selling.
And I'm not like a DC fanboy. I'm a Marvel kid. I grew up on this shit, and that's
all
why
the
I'm
Marvel
so
shit
frustrated.
behind you.
What? I got Well, I got Batman over here, but like I'm just saying, like it's just, it drives me crazy when people who have it's like there's a mantra I'm almost at that says like with great power there must also come great responsibility. Like you have this opportunity to make things people want, and all they want you to do is make it, and they don't. And there's legitimately no good reason for it. And it's why my theory is that no one's in charge. I just think that like the theory because no one would choose to fuck up this badly.
It would be nice to get a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
We've seen bad editors-in-chief. We've seen bad presidents at Marvel, and we've seen what damage that has wrought. This is like what happens. It's like those fail videos where you see a ship crash into a concrete like barrier, and you're just like, how did you fuck that up? Like it's just, and it's like literally, well, like the captain was getting head behind the bow, like no one was at the wheel. You know, like literally, just like it's texting while driving. It's just they're not looking at the road.
You know what I think, and this is a theory of mine, might be part of what we're seeing from Marvel. And again, I could be totally wrong about this. Look at like DC to me looks like they have like weekly meetings with everybody, and everybody kind of just says what they're working on, and then that gives them a chance to be like, oh wait, we should talk because I'm using a character. Right?
Yes.
Marvel feels like, all right, if you've ever... hey, those of you who've worked on, like, a painting or whatever, the thing they always tell you never to do is to, like, zone in and work on one area from start to finish.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the whole piece won't be cohesive because you worked really hard on that one section, and things you did there will not be reflected in the rest.
Right.
It seems like Marvel has decided to focus in on very specific things. And so when you step back, like the rest of us are as comic book fans, we see the entire piece, which now looks kind of like a mess because the same attention isn't being given to each of the books and each of the stories.
Yeah. My hope for this legacy thing is, if nothing else, I hope they stick to their guns of what they said, like, hey, no new big events for at least the next however many months. So at least whatever legacy is can at least, have a chance to dry, and we won't be shaking it up again in another 6 months. Yeah. Whatever it is, just pick a thing and stick with it is all I want.
Yeah, that would be good. Or maybe they should just stop saying that, like, every new thing they do is going to completely change or upset everything.
Yeah.
Because then when it doesn't, it reflects so poorly.
Feels disappointing. Feels anticlimactic.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, funny
they're their own worst hype man.
They really are, because like they're bad at it. Like I don't know. It's disheartening.
Yeah.
It really is. Hey everyone, welcome to the Bummercast. We hope you enjoyed
Yeah.
this episode of Feel Bad.
Marvel needs a regime change from top to bottom.
Yeah. But you know what? At the end of the day, even if we do say that we don't know if Marvel's being run by anyone or what their plan is or if they even have a plan, the fact is that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be decent stories that come out of there because there are going to be some writer, artist teams that really care about what they're doing. And they're going to give us a really good story, regardless of what is happening above them.
In fact, what you're liking now, you're probably going to continue to like, because it looks like they didn't change that much at all. You like Thor, you like Daredevil, you like whatever Nick Spencer ends up writing. I'm sure you'll probably dig it. Miss Marvel, continuing. All this good stuff continuing in one form or another. I don't know if it's going to make people buy any new books, but I don't know if it's going to make people drop any.
No. Right? It'll be interesting to see how this all kind of works out with them doing the legacy numbers, with them trying to be like, no, this is a great pickup point for people who might have like stepped away from Marvel. We'll see. We will time will tell.
And again, too, we haven't read like the Generations book. Maybe Aaron starts something crazy in there that actually will be the thing that ties all these books together. Because before DC Rebirth, I remember we were going the same thing too. Where it's like, oh god, you're starting over again with new number ones. What's a Rebirth? Is this another crisis? What is this? It wasn't until we read DC Universe Rebirth where we're like, oh, missing 10 years. Oh, Watchmen. Oh, Buttons. Oh, all this other stuff.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, maybe
Generations will blow us away.
Yeah, here's the thing. There are some things that we talked about today that, like, I'm a little excited to read. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
sure. Like, are you kidding me? There's going to be a book that has, like, Ghost Rider and, like, Spirits of Vengeance just as a whole, got Blade going on in there. You know I'm going to read that. You know I'm going to read that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm also excited to read the book Marvel Legacy #1. I want to see what they're because it reeks of Rebirth, but where it's like there's this one thing that's going to be like throughout the whole like year of Marvel, and it's like we're referring to it and stuff like I don't know, whatever, fine. Like
I dig the concept of an Avengers BC. I want to read that.
I'm so excited for that. I really am. Like, I hope that's good.
It's Aaron, so it probably will be.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith in him, which I just hope he doesn't like drink the Kool-Aid of his own greatness.
Do we know when Legacy actually comes the hell
out? December. It's going to be hitting the shelves in December.
Wow.
So that's not very far away at all.
Sucks. That's far enough away where it's like.
Well, and then here's the thing: for the books that are ending, that's unfortunate because it's like, well, it's a shelf life then at that point. You know what I mean?
You already know they're dead.
Yeah, exactly. And for the books where, maybe a new creative team might be taking over, or for those whose numbering is changing and that signals a different type of change, I assume the creative teams knew about this beforehand, but like you got to wonder, are they going to have time to wrap up the stories they wanted to in the way that they wanted to? And how will Secret Empire's extended issues like impact this whole thing?
Yeah. Because we're going to be going right from the end of Secret Empire to Generations. In fact, I think they might be running concurrently for a little bit there until it's all over. Then right from that to Legacy, Generations, whatever you want to call it. So that's what the next couple months are going to look like.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Was that the whole...
Hey, we'll have lots of work, though.
That's true.
Right?
Well, lots to talk about.
Like, was there anything else, or did you save Legacy for last?
I saved Legacy for last, as I assumed it would be the meatiest of topics.
Thank God.
Yeah, good, because I was like, oh, and also this. Like, oh, also, Cullen Bunn's writing the Tick.
Hang on. Just because of the fact that this whole thing has really made us, like, all, like, amped up and, like, and, like, just, kind of a bad taste.
Yeah.
Emotions are running wild.
Emotions are running wild. I just thought it would be kind of cool if maybe we tried to say something positive about Marvel books right now.
Right.
Just one thing.
Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was refreshing. Daredevil is kicking ass right now. They're doing a whole storyline about how to defeat crime in New York. Daredevil's actually willing to take the stand, which because Charles Soules is a lawyer, he's actually making reference to other stories where superheroes have taken the stand. It's a really interesting direction, and he's building up to a whole fight with the Kingpin. Thor continues to be awesome, and I'm loving Secret Empire there. I said it.
Oh, there you go. I really appreciate Marvel continuing these like without saying it, it's an unsaid thing. These kind of character studies. We saw it with Vision, and then we saw it with Kingpin, and just these like, here's a complete story about this character. Here you go, enjoy. I really appreciate that because I think that's really cool. And even if they continue something like that, just into direct trades, that'd be awesome.
Hulk was kind of like that. Jessica Jones is kind of like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really cool when they get a chance to get a writer who really appreciates character and just tells a really different or interesting story about them.
Agreed.
Luke Cage is actually doing the same right now with David Walker as we're meeting like the other children of the Doctor who were experimented on, and like Luke was the only one who came out right and not crazy.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a good pitch. I dig it. Also,
there.
Totally.
Well, there you
I also
go.
appreciate you guys going for that. Thank you for participating in my
thank
like.
you for
Let's try to end this on something a little more like
it's a good idea.
We still like comics, everybody.
Absolutely.
But
although some days they feel more like work than others when it's your job.
No, it's true. But well, there you go, gang. That was the weekly poll. I want to thank you all for hanging out with us and watching us complain and argue and ultimately come to some kind of middle ground. I'm excited that the episode was a good episode. I had fun doing that.
Did we all?
I did too.
Make sure, if you like the weekly poll, then you're going to love the poll, which is the sister show to this show that features these two mugs over here, where they talk about the week's comics. So the books come out on Wednesday, they read them all, and then on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they go over to the weekly poll YouTube channel, which Dana Chu will drop into the chat below and tell you all about where to get it. And you can subscribe, watch over there on Thursdays, 6 p.m. Not here, but on the sister channel, the weekly poll on YouTube. And and they're going to have a special guest. I can't say who it is because it's not 100% confirmed, but I'm looking forward to hopefully them having that special guest. So, yeah.
Yes, me too.
But
very excited for that.
Yeah, make sure to follow us all on Twitter if you like. I'm at Sal Says What, Joel at Cave Joel, Tiffany at The Real Zoobs. We'll see you guys next week with another episode of the weekly poll. Thanks a lot.